to today's Beyond Zero tidbit. I am Catherine, and this is the Matrix Guard. So, today's tidbit is all about authenticity, what it is, why it's important, and what we can do to be more authentic and less inauthentic, where we can hide a little bit less than maybe we are right now. So there is a worksheet that I highly recommend that we've created. If this is something you care about, that you work through. You can also just jot down the questions as I go, and because if you aren't a patron or if you're not a Twitch sub, you don't have access to the worksheet. So the first question on that worksheet is, what does authenticity mean to you? So you'll want to take time to answer that. So for me, authenticity is genuine self-expression fearlessly made public. Authenticity is genuine self-expression fearlessly made public. Because, you guys, we don't exist in a vacuum, right? So authenticity doesn't either. It demands that we share who we are. And because it's a social experience, and we're programmed to dislike things like embarrassment and rejection, like those feel awful, authenticity takes bravery and courage and boldness, right? So some things that other people also say about authenticity, in case you don't love my definition, you'll enjoy these. Authenticity is a process of becoming more and more uniquely yourself and sharing it honestly with the world, rather than authenticity being like an event or a milestone or a destination, something you accomplish and then move on from. And because it's a process, perfection is not even applicable. There is no end destination of perfection. Authenticity then exists in degrees, not absolutes, and it exists in the present moment only. So we are the authors of our authenticity, and we alone are responsible for it. No one else can help us, can make us authentic, right? So we either express our uniqueness and live in alignment with who we are, or we don't. We can usually feel when we're true to ourselves and when we are false, right? Like there's some sort of barometer that goes, oh, that was bullcrap, right? That's not who you are. That's not what you really believe. And that feeling can help you course correct and also help you unpack what your version of authenticity is moment by moment, right? It's a present moment experience. So authenticity is about being brave and risking disfavor. And when you are authentic, not everybody is going to like you. So if you're like me and you have a habit of trading your authenticity for people pleasing, having more people dislike you can be a win and can be proof that you are living more authentically. Authenticity, it means accurately representing your inner reality. Sometimes it means being honest about how inauthentic you currently are behaving. And guys, how often and how forever more we will always be slightly inauthentic. Because it's always this present moment creation of discovery of, oh, that's not me. Then I'm gonna step in and be me, right? It's a learning process, and it's messy. So representing yourself authentically is a crucial component of honesty. And research shows that as a character strength, honesty builds trustworthiness and contributes to healthy relationships. And we know that healthy relationships are essential to well-being and resilience. So honesty is also linked to an increased accuracy with goal setting, because your goals are more likely to actually reflect your values and interests. So that also boosts your well-being too. Now, there is a dark side to honesty, and that's because it matters how truths are delivered. So our inner truths, they can land softly and with empathy, or they can land with blame, anger, judgment, right? A whole package of unpleasant emotions. So the dark side to honesty is really about a lack of communication finesse, more than a problem with honesty itself. So if your shared truths tend to hurt other people, then you may want to practice skills like nonviolent communication. All right, so authenticity in the Matrix Guard, why we care about authenticity. The world needs creative and innovative solutions. And it will only get them to the extent that people own their authenticity. Each of us is a unique combination of genes, environment, personality, core values, character strengths. And there will never be another person capable of creating what you and you alone are capable of creating out of your uniqueness. So for us, living and creating authentically is the heroic act, right? It is heroic, and it's saving the world. So I'm going to share a link. I highly suggest you watch it. It's under 4 minutes, and it's the most fantastic, inspiring video of Leandria reciting a poem that celebrates authenticity in the most, yummy, inspiring way. So please watch it. It's linked to the description of this video. So I'm going to run through some quotes on authenticity that I really love. This is from Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He says, authenticity is derived from the natural self, whereas inauthenticity is a result of external influences. Jean-Paul Sartre, authenticity is a process of continual self-definition and requires taking full responsibility for your life. Anonymous, my favorite, authenticity is harmony with your inner life. Amy Poehler, you attract the right things when you have a sense of who you are. Henry David Thoreau, one of my favorites, we are constantly invited to be who we are. Yes, moment by moment, it's an invitation to listen, course correct, and be you, share you. Eckhart Tolle, only the truth of who you are, if realized, will set you free. E.E. Cummings, it takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. Charlie Chaplin, as I began to love myself, I found that anguish and emotional suffering are only warning signs that I was living my own truth. Today I know this as authenticity, right? Because it's uncomfortable. People aren't gonna like you. So this is challenging in the best of ways. William James, seek out that particular mental attribute which makes you feel most deeply and vitally alive, along with which comes the inner voice which says, this is the real me. And when you have found that attitude, follow it. Benji Jacobi, it's a paradox that one can discover some measure of personal authenticity not by avoiding the outside world, but only by immersing oneself in it. And yet, authenticity is achieved by resisting outside influences in one's self-realization. What? I love all of these. Brene Brown, authenticity is a daily practice. Choosing authenticity means cultivating the courage to be emotionally honest, to set boundaries, and to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Exercising compassion that comes from knowing that we are all made of strength and struggle and connected to each other through a loving and resilient human spirit. Nurturing the connection and the sense of belonging that can only happen when we let go of what we are supposed to be and embrace who we are. Thank you, Brene. All right, so I'm going to lay out the questions on the worksheet. How has your definition of authenticity changed since you've heard me talk about it? When are you the most authentic? When are you the least authentic? And then it's about doing the work. So you create your authentic self, and you alone are responsible for it, right? So to practice authenticity means you take action, reflect on how genuine you are being in the moment, and then adjust course, moment by moment, day by day. Authenticity is never ending, and it's always going to be messy. So let's look at our authenticity gaps, those places in our lives where we are acting inauthentically. And this is the Authenticity Gap tool. It's based on an ideal image tool from IPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. They're amazing. Highly recommend them. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to list all the qualities you can to describe your authentic self. So try to identify what rings true for you versus what others expect of you. So there are things like you could use your core values, right, that we've done in a previous episode, and you can link to that and watch that video if you want. You can do personal insights about who you are and what you need to be, and you can use your character strengths. So you list all of those out, and then you go back over that list, and using a 10-point scale, you're going to mark how authentic you currently are in each of those qualities. 1 being like wholly inauthentic, 10 meaning completely authentic. So you'll have like a snapshot of where your biggest gaps are, right? And then you just list which of those qualities do you want to improve? And you put them underneath a column that says quality. And then the next step is to outline a strategy for improvement, and then a deadline to start the strategy. And then the final column is your measurement of success, how you'll know you've successfully implemented the strategy. So maybe it's honesty, right? You're like, oh, honesty is super important to me, and I'm really not communicating honestly with my coworker. Like, I'm not giving them I'm lying when they're asking for feedback, right? So the strategy for improvement could be to practice giving honest feedback that's cushioned with compliments, right? So it's not just negative, right? It could be anything, but that could be what it is. The deadline to start, okay, I'm gonna do it next Monday, after our team meeting. I'm gonna set a meeting to do it with my coworker. And then measurement of success, I did my compliment sandwich, right? I started with something good, had the honest feedback, and ended with something that I really love about them. And you're like, did you do it or did you not do it, right? So it's very simple, you guys. And then you want to just ask yourself, what support or resources might you need to be successful in this? What might get in your way? How can you problem solve for those things that are maybe going to get in your way? And then how you want to be accountable. So again, that's a lot. The worksheet is there for you if you would like it. And just a bonus question. So what is the difference between authenticity and integrity? So people often use them interchangeably because they both have a connotation of being whole, of being complete. But I really do think that they're different. So authenticity is this ongoing process of self-creation that requires bravery, reflection, and adjustment, right? It's this ever-changing inner reality that we are consciously choosing to share with the public. There's no other you out there, and there never will be. So your authenticity is a unique thumbprint on the world. And it's an act of sharing that uniqueness with others. Integrity is more of an ethical norm. So instead of being unique to you, it's more of a shared social norm, right? So questions of integrity go like this. Do I lie? Do I go back on my word? Do I gossip? Do I cheat? Do I steal, right? So they're ethical standards instead of inner qualities that you're sharing through a process of bravery and reflection. A couple other bonus tips. Ideally, your future goals will be in alignment with your authenticity. And you want that because when your goals come from who you are and what you really think and care about, you're much more likely to care and to stay motivated and stay consistent over time. Also, if you like this conversation, I highly recommend Brené Brown's book, Daring Greatly. It is an excellent, excellent resource for authenticity, especially for those of us who struggle to set boundaries and struggle with how to choose who we share our authentic self with, like who's safe to share our authentic self with. So that's it, you guys. Thank you so much. I think this one was on a little bit on the longer side. I had a wonderful time putting this together for you. Until next time, stay true and never settle. Mwah! Bye!